When you're in the middle of tough times, hard days, and you begin to pray and turn your heart toward Yah, and you start asking for deliverance, for help, in your mind, exactly what does that answer look like? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10 Minute Torah, Day 4 of Bakukatai, and I want to finish up in chapter 26 of the Ikra, or Leviticus, and began today with verse 40. It says, "But if they confess their crookedness and the crookedness of their fathers, with their trespass in which they trespassed against me, and that they have also walked contrary to me, and that I have walked contrary to them, and brought them into the land of their enemies, if their uncircumcised heart is then humbled, and they accept the punishment for their crookedness." We'll come back to that. "Then I shall remember," let me rephrase that, "then I shall remember my covenant with Yaakov, and also my covenant with Yitzhak, and also remember my covenant with Abraham, and remember the land. For the land was abandoned by them, and enjoying its Shabbats, while lying waste without them, and they were paying for their crookedness, because they rejected my right rulings, and because their being loathed my laws. And yet for all of this, when they are in the land of their enemies, I shall not reject them, nor shall I loathe them so as to destroy them and break my covenant with them, for I am Yahweh, their Elohim. Then I shall remember for their sake the covenant of the ancestors with whom I brought out of the land of Mitzrayim before the eyes of the nations to be their Elohim. I am Yahweh. These are the laws, the right rulings, and the Torah, which Yahweh made between himself and the children of Israel on Mount Sinai by the hand of Moshe." There is a pattern of prayer here. It begins with confession of not only the crookedness or the waywardness from Torah of our ancestors. We can look back all the way to the days of Jeroboam and say, well, they made the gold calf idols and the altars, and they sinned, and there was mixture, and they replaced feast days and the priesthood, etc. And we can blame them. And certainly they are worthy of blame because they were guilty. But let's also remember, so have we. We might say, well, wait a minute, Barry, we've come back to the Torah. We're re-embracing the commands. We are trying to do the best that we can in a foreign land in the exile. I get all of that. And I've made those statements. But then it says that they would confess our trespasses that we did. Maybe there was an initial, "Father, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was eating unclean or celebrating wrongly in feast days, or I had cut off the front half of the scriptures, and we confess, I did those things." Confession is announcing with the mouth, but repentance involves a turning of the heart. An embracing of the Torah is more than just a short checklist. It is finding the Torah-defined Messiah, the Torah-defined future, the Torah-defined kingdom and its promise, and it is renewing a relationship with Yahweh as he really is, not as we prefer him to be. So when we're praying for deliverance, America is facing some difficult times. Inflation is high. Food prices, gas prices, people struggle with that. Reports are that there are those who got into their homes when the interest rates were low, and they're yet struggling to keep their utilities going and their mortgage payments. And so to be able to meet these needs, they're cutting out vacation times, they're cutting out streaming services for their television. The movie theaters are greatly empty. Nobody's interested in venturing out and spending the money that they used to. Even Walmart has seen a downturn. Apple products have seen a downturn. Things that people just went out and splurged on a regular basis, they're not doing it anymore because it's tough. Our borders are open. We don't know who's coming through. And again, I'm not trying to be political here, but I mean, it's just a reality. Even, today I see a report that it's not just people from South and Central America, but it's people from all over the nations. And there's a great influx from China. Why are they here? So we have insecurities, we have lack of security, we have a downplay in our economy. There's problems in the food markets. There's problems in our militaries. America the Great is suffering, and we've got holes in our garments, holes in our pockets. We put money in bags with holes in it, and they're falling to the ground. We're struggling. And Yah says, you have to at this time begin to realize you walk contrary to me, and therefore I walk contrary to you. So when we cry out, oh God, turn your face back toward us, are we looking for a revitalized, resurgent, refurbished, restored America? Are we trying to get back to a preferred decade where we thought, well, the prices were low and the money was better and the jobs were more secure and our borders were more defined? Is that what we're looking for? Is that the picture that we have? Well, maybe we're praying for revival where there's crowds of people shoving themselves into church buildings and synagogues and gathering places and arenas, maybe even open fields. And we're looking for this spiritually heightened, enthusiastic, zealous momentum thing going on. That's not what Yah is describing here. The restoration that Yah is offering us goes back far beyond anything that we've experienced previously in America. Yah is saying, I want you to return to me with your whole heart, and I'm going to remember my covenant that I made with the patriarchs, and then I'm going to remember the land. So the repentance, the turning that Yah is requiring of us, it's not just for a better version of our country that we're in now, but a return to the land. He wants to take us back further to a better time than anything that we can remember ever taking place in America, because America's never had it this well, ever. If we want to be honest, there's been economic ruins and runs on banks and war after war on American soil and social upheaval and violence. America has been a nation plagued over its couple 100+ years with problems. And Yah is saying, I want to remember the covenant for your ancestors' sake and return you back to what I promised them. There's nothing wrong for asking Yah to save the country of our exile. And of all the nations in the earth to be exiled in, America is an awesome place to be in exile to a point. We have to be honest and realize that our nation is suffering under the heavy hand of Yah oppressing things because our hearts are turned from Him. And it shows up in all manner of lifestyles and choices and things that we have just learned to accept. Yah says, turn your hearts back to me. I've been walking contrary to you. Recognize that. Because you've been contrary to me. You turn back to me, I'll turn back to you. And I'll restore you to a place more than you have ever imagined. So our prayers for repentance actually are too small. Let's think about that. and pray hard today. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, shalom.